that starts for people to tune in. So.
Kelly, I'll put the mic on.
Yeah, mic on. Michelle, we're ready to go.
For anyone that's tuning in on Facebook Live right now, due to technical difficulties, our normal camera is unavailable, so we're streaming in a bit of a different method. Hope it works out, and just trying to get as much information out to as many people. So we'll get started right away for those that are tuning in. All right, good morning. My name is Jay Murray. I'm a Public Information Officer with the Winnipeg Police Service. We have one matter to release on this morning, a very important one. The Winnipeg Police Service is requesting the public's assistance with locating Sandra McLaughlin. She's a 63-year-old woman with dementia who was abducted early this morning from a vehicle she had been in that was stolen. Sandra is described as 5'7" tall, with a slightly heavier build, long white and black hair, and had been wearing a gray hoodie. The vehicle, a blue 2012 Jeep Patriot with Manitoba license plate KXR852. The phonetic alphabet, Kilo X-ray Romeo 852, had been temporarily parked at a gas station in the 3600 block of Portage Avenue when a male suspect approached the vehicle and stole it. It has been reported that Sandra was in the rear of the Jeep at the time. We don't know if that was in the back seat or in the hatchback area. And the vehicle was last seen westbound on Portage towards the Perimeter Highway. Our witness only indicates that it went towards the Perimeter Highway. We don't know if that vehicle traveled, continued westbound to Headingley, or if it took a north or southbound turn onto the Perimeter Highway. That's something we're still trying to establish as the investigation progresses. The suspect is described as being 6 feet tall with dark hair and had been wearing a gray jacket, dark colored shorts, a hoodie with white writing, sandals, and white gloves. The Winnipeg Police Service activates a silver alert whenever a vulnerable adult person is reported missing. We are concerned for Sandra McLaughlin's well-being and are asking anyone with information regarding her whereabouts to contact 911. Information can also be relayed to the Winnipeg Police Service's Missing Persons Unit, 204-986-6250, or the Major Crimes Unit, which is also involved in the investigation now, at 204-986-6219. Just before we begin with questions, we'll show video surveillance from the incident itself. We feel that it can be beneficial to locating Sandra or identifying the suspect or helping us find the vehicle. See the suspect approach, passenger side of the vehicle. He enters the vehicle, slides over to the driver's seat. An individual that had been driving the vehicle, Sandra, tries to stop the theft. And the vehicle takes off from there. That video is available on our social media pages. I believe it'll also probably be available on most media agencies here in Winnipeg on their pages as well. So that video will be shared widely, and we would encourage anyone to share Sandra's photo, her information, and that video. If there's any questions, I guess I'll take them.
I know it's early in the investigation, but does this look like just a crime of opportunity? He saw a vehicle he could steal, and then that happened? Or do you think, I don't want to say she was targeted, but the intent was to abduct her?
It's an unusual incident. We have nothing to indicate that these parties know each other. At this point, it appears to be a completely random incident and a crime of opportunity.
I think you had said early warning. I mean, can you give us roughly, is that like 3 in the morning or 5?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked. That's a good question. The incident occurred at 1:57 this morning.
Have there been any similar incidents to this in recent time?
There hasn't. Again, it's a fairly unusual incident. Car theft, unfortunately, is relatively common here in Winnipeg, but vehicles being stolen while somebody's inside, that's unusual. In this case, we don't know if Sandra was in the rear of the vehicle, in the back seat, or further back in the hatchback area. There is a possibility that whoever took the vehicle may have not known that she's in that vehicle. I mean, it's early hours. She does live with dementia, so it's possible that she could still be in the back of that vehicle. We simply do not know at this time, but we have immediate concerns for her well-being.
And I'm not sure how much you can say or know. I mean, was she with family member, or what was just, they were just stopping to get gas?
Yeah, it's a good question, and obviously you do see another individual in the video. Two family members, so Sandra's family member was driving the vehicle, she was in the back of the vehicle. They stopped at this gas station, he ran inside, and that's when the theft occurred.
Is the hope, I guess, that he realizes she's in the back and, I don't wanna say dumps her, but drops her off somewhere and then, because the intent was to steal the car, not
Yeah.
obviously, but the intent seems to be to steal the car.
Yeah, we really have three objectives here. The most important and our primary objective is to get Sandra back safely. That's our ultimate goal. But we're also hoping to identify the individual that did this and recover that vehicle, or at least get more information on the vehicle itself. So again, our primary goal here is the safe return of Sandra, but we're also looking for information on the vehicle and the suspect as well.
Could you speak a little to the search efforts that have been going on and that are projected to go on?
Yeah. Our units were dispatched immediately. They attended the scene, interviewed the individual that you can see in the video. Our officers looked for this vehicle, went the last direction of the vehicle. We now have a number of investigators assigned. Our missing persons unit was assigned this morning. We now also have our major crimes unit involved. Reason for that being, it allows us additional investigators, additional manpower. We're pursuing a number of investigative angles, including video surveillance. We're hoping video surveillance, whether it's traffic cameras or surveillance in the area, will tell us the last direction of travel to a better extent. We'd like to identify where that vehicle went when it hit the perimeter highway. We're also releasing this information to the public. We're hoping that having the public aware of this incident provides us with an additional avenue of trying to obtain more information. We recognize it's Saturday morning, there's likely a lot of people that are headed out of town, whether it's to a lake or leaving Winnipeg for whatever reason. So we're asking everyone to please keep an eye out for this vehicle, please keep an eye out for Sandra, and be aware of the incident.
And of course, we don't exactly know where the vehicle may have went, but considering the last direction we've seen it, there's a concern it could be in a rural area.
Absolutely. We certainly have reason to believe that it could be west or southwest of the city, or even northwest. We simply don't know. There's also a possibility that that vehicle returned into Winnipeg. So we're asking everyone to share this, especially in southwestern Manitoba and in the Winnipeg area.
Are you working with RCMP at this point, presumably?
We are. We've notified them. We've been in contact with them. They're aware of that information should that vehicle be observed or Sandra be located.
I'm gonna put you a little on the spot. Once this person is arrested, could this be or face abduction related charges, or is that still a matter for the Crown to determine?
It's certainly possible. There's a variety of charges that this individual can face, and I think it'll be largely dependent on what we learn during the course of this investigation. If there's evidence that suggests that he knew she was in the back of that vehicle, certainly charges can be upgraded. It also depends on the outcome of this investigation. We hope for the safe return of Sandra, but we also have to be cognizant that there's going to be a wide range of outcomes here, unfortunately. So again, we're pleading for her safe return, whether it's the individual that committed this theft. If they happen to see this, we would encourage them to drop her off at a safe location. Or again, if anyone sees this vehicle, it's a very distinct vehicle. The vehicle has a large dent on the driver's side door, and it's visible in the video. And it also has steel rims, rims that you would often see in winter. So these are black rims with a bit of rust on them. The vehicle is dark navy. It's a Jeep Patriot. So we feel it's a fairly distinct video, a fairly distinct vehicle. And again, that license plate, we expect it'll still be on the vehicle, but we can't preclude it's been removed. But it's KXR 852.
I know it's still early.
Sorry, that was not audible to the car. Would you mind speaking to that, please?
Yes, absolutely. We feel the vehicle is fairly distinct in appearance. Sorry, Kelly. We feel the vehicle is fairly distinct in appearance. It has a large dent on the driver's side door. The rims are black steel rims with what we believe a bit of rust. These are rims that you would often see in winter that people use for winter tires. It's a dark blue Jeep Patriot, and if it has a license plate still on it, we believe the plate will be KXR 852. I think she's good.
She has dementia. I mean, presumably a particularly vulnerable person. Can you speak to that?
It certainly elevates the seriousness of this matter. Part of the reason why we issued a silver alert this morning, I believe it was about 4 a.m., a silver alert allows us to provide that information. Typically, we're bound by privacy laws and we can't disclose medical information. Acknowledging this as a silver alert allows us that ability, and we feel it's relevant to the investigation should somebody come across her. I think it also speaks to the seriousness, some additional seriousness to the offense.
I know it's still early and you perhaps don't know as yet, but like we saw a car passing by at the same time that the suspect was approaching the vehicle. Is there any information as yet as to where the suspect may have come from, or is there anything that you want the public to know about that?
That's going to form part of the investigation going forward, how this individual got there, where they had come from. We believe they approached the vehicle from the immediate area on foot. We can't preclude the possibility that they were dropped off or arrived there in a vehicle. That'll obviously form part of the investigation moving forward.
And just coming back to the fact that she does have dementia, I mean, and I don't know the details that you know, but I mean, is there concern she's kind of somewhat unaware of her surroundings in general terms?
It's entirely possible. It's something that we're very considerate of while this investigation is proceeding. There's a strong likelihood that she may not be aware of what's occurred or the seriousness of what has transpired. So we're really relying on the public here to keep their eyes out. She may not be somebody that can call police on her own, especially if she's dropped off or she's let out of this vehicle. She may have that inability to recognize what exactly is going on. So we're asking people not only to pay attention to the vehicle, but her description as well, just in case she's on foot.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Michelle on the phone. Michelle, do you have any questions?
Oh, thank you. Wondering if, are you able to shed any more light on Sandra McLaughlin in the vehicle at the time? Said she was with a family member and that family member had stopped for gas. Is there any more information you're able to share about what had her there at that hour of the night?
You know what? I don't. It still is an investigation, and I think the Winnipeg Police Service has tried to be as forthcoming as we can with details. There's still some information that we're not able to provide. I can just tell you that she was with a family member. You can see that family member in the video. They arrived at this gas station together. They exited the vehicle, or he exited the vehicle. This individual approached on foot, stole the vehicle, and left. I'm sorry, I just don't want to provide too much more information. Not that we believe there's anything untowards that happened beforehand. We just don't feel it's relevant to her disappearance at this time.
Understood. And would you have a message for the suspect in the event that they're not necessarily aware that they had the McLaughlin in the car at the time? What would your message to the suspect be in terms of getting her safely back to her family members?
First and foremost, drop her off in safe hands, whether that's at a police station, it can be at a fire station that's staffed, or contact police. Our ultimate goal here, our primary goal is her safe return. Everything else falls second to that. It's incredibly important that we get her home safely. If this individual is watching this message, do the right thing. I think that's the message we want to convey to them.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Michelle?
Two things I'll speak about that might.
Michelle's on the line here.
Oh, sorry.
I think there's two Michelles on the line here.
Oh.
I'm also Michelle.
Okay, my apologies. Go ahead.
No, it's all good.
Well, Canadian Press Michelle is done, so over to you.
Okay.
There you go, Michelle from Global. Sorry, it's been a little bit hard to hear through the phone line. Like there's been some parts that are inaudible, so my apologies if this is repeating myself.
Yeah, no problem. We're gonna pull.
I'm just curious as to why you suspected that she was in the hatchback. Like, why would she have been there?
Again, unfortunately, it's information. I'm gonna choose not to disclose at this time. We don't feel it's relevant to the investigation necessarily, and it's relatively private information. I mean, I think some people can probably conclude from their own assumptions why somebody might have been staying in the back of the vehicle. But again, it's just something we're choosing not to disclose at this time.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
So two things I'll just bring up that might generate other questions or I think would be relevant to the press conference. We are looking at the possibility of issuing a text alert to at least Winnipeg and southern Manitoba, that area. That's something we're still seeking the necessary approvals. It's not something that we've typically done in the past. It's essentially some uncharted territory for the Winnipeg Police Service. So that's something we still are exploring an avenue of. We believe that a number of people, it's daylight now, we'll have more eyes on the road, people will be heading out of Winnipeg. We think it might be beneficial if we can get those approvals. We're also going to be providing updates on our social media pages if anyone wants to continue to follow. If they have interest in this, Facebook will also be updated to an extent, and we'll also provide information to the media as well.
And just be clear, when you say the text, that's emergency alerts that people get on their phone.
Yeah, that's correct. If we do get the approvals to issue this release or this alert, it'll go to every phone, similar to an Amber Alert.
That approval is a provincial government approval, right?
That's correct. Amber Alert has very specific legislation or requirements that allow us to put out an Amber Alert. This is kind of an unusual incident. We have to be cognizant that there's a number of variables in this investigation. Investigation is also proceeding at this time, but it's certainly something we're looking at.
And Jay, I mean, I know you likely can't say actual numbers, but safe to say there's a significant amount of police resources on this case.
There is a significant. It initially started with the general patrol units that responded to this call. At that point, it was, or this morning, it was turned over to our missing persons unit. We're treating this as a missing person initially, and now we have our major crimes unit investigators on board. And what that does is it allows us to expand the number of detectives, investigators that are assigned this file, and we can also use the knowledge and experience of our major crimes unit in tandem with our missing persons unit investigators, who are also very experienced and hopefully safely locate Sandra.
Any more questions? Any more questions from the reporters on the phone? All right, hearing none, thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
was so confused. You talked about the specific criteria for an Amber Alert. Are there any such criteria for a Silver Alert? Because this is not one that we're as familiar with, I don't think, in terms of what thresholds are.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked, because this gives me an opportunity to explain Silver Alerts in greater detail. There's often a lot of... Sorry, we'll pull it right close. Can you hear me better now? Sorry, Michelle, can you hear me better? I'll answer the question anyways. This allows us a better opportunity, I think, to explain Silver Alerts in detail. A lot of people, when we initially started talking about Silver Alerts, thought that they would be similar to an Amber Alert, that every time we would automatically trigger a phone notification. Silver Alerts allow us to acknowledge the medical history or medical details involving a vulnerable person. They're usually issued in the same manner as a missing person. They don't necessarily mean that an alert is going to be sent. There is a requirement. There are a number of requirements outlined in the Missing Person or the Silver Alert Act that we have to follow in order to declare something a Silver Alert. But the next step in terms of sending in a text-ready alert or a text alert to the province or certain areas, those require further approvals and are determined on a case-by-case basis.
So it's not based on the age of the person, because it says Silver Alert. You
Yeah.
would assume it's an elderly person or...
Typically, it's somebody that we consider vulnerable. I mean, I've been doing this now for 6 years, and every time we've issued a Silver Alert, seems to be maybe 1 or 2 cases a year. It's always been an elderly individual. Just the requirements, and unfortunately I don't have them in place, but they're quite specific, and they usually only apply to individuals that live with things such as dementia.
But it doesn't have to be. It's not, the age itself is not necessarily the criteria.
I have to double check the requirement, just because I've never seen it not be an individual that's older.
Shit, it's 2 of us.
So I think that's it. Is there anything else on the call? All right, thank you very much.